Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch, to get his thoughts on this particular issue. Mr. Sari, good evening. Thank you very much for your time. Hello, Mr. Sari.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Good evening. Thank you very much for your time. So, there's a second video we are seeing in just 1 week. Are you surprised at what we are seeing?
Well, I am happy that what is hidden is inadvertently, being leaked to the attention of the authorities for action. I am worried that the authorities are not proactive in rather looking for evidence of exploitative sexual relationships between staff and then students, given the leads that we now have at least within a week. I think that the authorities should be more proactive than reactive. It is good for the evidence to come effortlessly, and then the GES has the opportunity of reacting by applying its own rules of conduct. But it is better for the GES to take proactive steps to begin sampling some of these schools and investigating relationships, between teachers or staff and then students. It may wish to collaborate with the BNI on this. It is very important because, you see, when you have such cases coming up in a particular school, it is more likely, and I'm not saying it is the case, but it is more likely that you would find, other undercurrents, or you find various dimensions of the crime taking place in the school, for which reason perhaps it never got to the notice, of the GES for all this while. There are some schools where the heads may, instead of taking action when they are fully aware of some of these things, they prefer to be quiet and then manage it, And so what I want to say, in addition to the GES being proactive to sample schools and conduct a deep dive into student-teacher relationships, it is also important for the GES to ask questions of the headmasters. Because if the headmaster is in the school and the headmaster is not aware, absolutely in abeyance when it comes to relationships between his assistant academic and students or a student, then it requires some further inquiry, because the headmaster, should have a sense of what is happening between his staff and then his students. So beyond the culprit or the alleged perpetrators pending investigation, it's important for investigations to be widened, the scope of investigation to widen to include other teachers, including the supervisory heads of these schools, to find out how these things could have happened on the blind side, of authorities in the school. I want to say something about exploitation. You see, there's issues we've been discussing all week are not issues relating to sexual misconduct or what you call compromised position, as the GES put it in the case of the KNUST senior high school. There's nothing like compromise situation here. The issue we are discussing is explicitly that of sexual exploitation. Okay, it is clearly sexual exploitation, which is the case that one person in a higher authority, okay, is taking advantage of the other for sexual purposes. It's as simple as that, because a relationship between a teacher and a student is not an equal relationship, and so in sexual exploitation, which is purely criminal, in sexual exploitation, there's nothing like sexual harassment or inappropriate relationship. No. It's just sexual exploitation, and it is criminal. And so when we see the GES move beyond taking the suspects through its administrative inquiries to criminalizing them, reports should have been made, and I don't know if they've been made to the police by now in all the two cases.
But in the first case, the gender minister yesterday announced that they are collaborating with the police to go and arrest the assistant headmaster. You think it will be right to make a similar call for this particular one as well?
The GES, its own code of conduct. Sexual exploitation is not within the GES's purview. These are criminal matters. Even though GES will have the administrative procedures to take the staff through, the first thing they should have done was to report the case to the police. That's the first thing. The crime is allegedly committed. First thing, because it is not. That's why I'm saying that if you look at the letter the GS issued, they mentioned that the teacher was in an inappropriate. What do I say? The word they used was inappropriate. It is sexual exploitation, and so it's a criminal issue. They have to report both to the school. The GS is the one that has to go and make the report. I mean, if I say the GS, either the school head or whoever is acting for and on behalf of the GS must make that report with the Ghana police before the Ministry of Gender will even come in to facilitate the process. That report is key, so that all staff of GS would know that if there is a sexual relationship between you and your staff, so far as you are in a higher authority or a position of authority or power, it is sexual exploitation and it is criminal. That for me is very, very, very important here.
Kofi, finally, we are told by the Ghana Education Service that in the second video, the girl is no more a student. I think she's completed. And so, they are now going to even look for her and do the necessary thing. You think they should still pursue this matter even though the girl has left the school?
Oh, if I go and steal at a bank in Ghana today and I travel to America and come in 5 years' time, I can still be prosecuted for stealing. And so, if the alleged crime was committed, there's no bar to criminal, conduct. So yes, the teacher should be prosecuted, and then the girl should be identified. And then, most times, the challenge in prosecution such cases is that you may not have, the support or the will of the girl. In this case, you find that you need the cooperation of the victim is key in establishing a strong case for prosecution. And so we hope that they are able to identify the girl, provide necessary psychosocial support to them because of the way, they've been exposed to, harm and then ridicule, etc. And then encourage them to support the prosecution process so that these adults who exploited them will be made to face the law in accordance with the Children's Act and other laws of Ghana that seek to protect the right of girls.
Mr. Asare, thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much. Kofi Asare, the Executive Director of the Africa Education.